G'day for anyone who's tuned in. Just 21st EOD, going to start just going through the indexes and VIX. I've had a look at it. I'm just going back to do a second check just to see what it was looking at. So let's start with the VIX. Actually, let's start back the long way around since I've had a look at the VIX and we can work back to them. So here we're looking at the S&P 500. We've lost quite a lot of delta out in this monthly roll. If we just go back to the month before and see what the roll was like the month before, just see if it's doing something funny to us. There are a couple of data misses in here. So that's the month before. It's been a reasonably strong month. We've had two sections of delta hedging. And we've had a bit of a pullback. Then we're starting some delta hedging again. This is looking at the long trades, so it's 30 days plus. Let's just go and have a look at the. I'm using the 15 here, the NDM 15 columns, and at the moment I probably should swap those around. This is for the shorter trades. Let's look at this on the longer trades. I just find that a more efficient way. Have the two screens set up. Also, it gives you a little bit more definition when looking for those hedges. So we can see that we had one day where we had a lot stronger open interest being Friday. Today is weakened a little bit, but it's still above where it was on Thursday. There is a little bit of, it's just a bit of delta hedging. Most of this that's rolled off is just going to be the monthly. The delta hedging for the month rolls off. So if we just go December 21st, just the month, so we'll just shoot above it. So there's the 20th, and we can see we've had quite a strong month. It still is a neutral position. We were long in the month before. And again, there's that delta there. Let's have a look what's happening with the hedging. So we can see the hedging has just slowly removed. Yeah, there's a tiny bit of extra hedging. We're in the S&P 500 here, so it could be quite specific hedging looking as we come into earnings. So I'm considering that green. I don't think there's any ambush in it at all. We've still got a buy signal, very, very strong buy signal. We've had steady increasing DPI. Looks like we're going back into a bull market, which is quite interesting. As you can see, we had a lot of gamma come off there. You can see this gamma's come off very, very sharp. And that's probably part of the maths that has given us this high buy signal. It's just the speed at which the gamma has rolled off compared to very little dip in the DPI, so it's strong buying into that market there. Well, we don't have an IV on that, so I think I'm going to take that ambush out. A lot of calls have rolled off, that's right. Let's just move to the SPY first. Oh, actually we can start on the VIX here. Just had a look at the VIX here. I'm just trying to slice this down. We're putting in some new filters into this at the moment, but I'm just trying to work out where we've had this huge dump, and it's just coming through generally. It's really picked up here, but we had no very short-term increase in puts, and I look in the puts, I like this is the section here where I think that the traders are selling the VIX. And on 100 days, I doubt very few of these people are going to be trading from there, but the 10th is about the top. We can see here's the 13th and the 10th. Just let me switch that around so you can see what I'm looking at over here. This little top here is the 13th and the 10th. And so if we just go back to this, we can see that that is pretty well associated with this top here. At the time, I didn't like it. I didn't call it as a big sell because it wasn't a big sell in this traders area here. was much more out in this area of higher delta, which tends to be put selling or put buying. In this case, it's put buying, but it would be put selling if it was in if it was a fund that was dealing in an index. But it's here we're dealing in the VIX, so it's a put buying fund, and I'd say that's where they've come in their risk management. And it's just a little note there that I'm just going to chuck that in. Sorry that I'm jumping around the screens here. I'm just going to put in that note there in the VIX. Because somewhere it's dropped off. VIX put funds at tops. Check with index options. Excuse me. I'll just leave that note there. It's just so there's just so many areas that we cover that I just like to go back and check those as we go through them. So back into this, we'll just check the ETNs. I think are pretty much the same, but let's just check the ETNs that I like. I like the VIXI. They're all pretty good, but at the moment I've had some good success with the VIXI. And let's just refine that to what I want to see, which is just the short dated stuff. And an interesting amount of them has rolled off. That's crazy, isn't it? Let's have a look what some of the other ETNs say. This has rolled off, but it's strengthened out wide. Don't necessarily think that. Let's have a look at the deltas on that, see if it's a big call. Yeah, look. It's got relatively a lot heavier. Oh no, that's really pushed up the weight there. But no, it has relatively got a lot heavier. Let's just add in a screen on that. It'd be lovely to be able to filter that a bit better than that. And we can see that yeah, it's just really rolled out in the weight. It's a little bit indecisive there, so I think I'm going to just keep that at. It was profit taking on Friday. I'm going to remove the profit taking and just put it on amber until we've seen that for a day. This is quite a strong buy here, but really the VIX is usually, and the ETNs are usually traded in the 50 delta at the money, where they get the best gamma. So you get the best increase in price. Maybe we'll just look at UVXY too. See if it's all very similar. Let's see what the inverse did. Yeah, the inverse. Still, we saw the hedging come off here in the on the 10th. This is where these hedges came off on the 10th, and it really hasn't picked up. It's picked up a little bit, so it is a little bit amber. So maybe we'll just leave that as amber too. So we'll leave the SVX that to amber, and then we'll just move on to the SPY. And the SPY, that's quite interesting. That could just well be delta hedging, but it's quite strong. We can see it's starting to be in the area. I mean, the delta hedges really like about 0.7 to 0.8 delta. So yeah, it's out of the area that I would really be worried about. It's interesting though. I wouldn't say it's I haven't really really seen anything there. Even if we wind it down, this is back in the long positioning. Just see if there's anything hiding under the surface. Go up a little bit closer, see if we can get some definition on that. I know this looks like a very arduous task, but this is trying to spot the difference between systematic or algorithmic trading and live traders who are trading on the day, and they just trade in very different places. So that's quite the 13th. There was no reason for on the 13th for there to be a bump. It was a strong bottom. There's nothing else really jumping in there that's suspect. Here on the 6th, we had them come in on the 6th. So yeah, it is a bit interesting. But these ones here that have come in on this trade on the 14th and the 15th are really holding. Let's have a look at the 7 days and just see if there's any more of that hiding in the 7 days. It's a hard one to see, but there's nothing obvious out wide, and usually you would see this out wide. So here's the 13th. And that's that bottom there, and it is reasonably obvious compared to this, which is quite linear. So the SPY is hedging. I think it's more just delta hedging that we've got appearing. Yeah, I think that's just a bit of delta hedging appearing. There's nothing that's standing out. Let's have a look at the Qs, and then we'll go and do the SPX. So again, the Qs is like, it's really weakened in the 7 days. That's quite green. DPI is not strong, but it's held on a setting day, and we've got a really strong increase here in long positioning. And the delta hedging has rolled off from the month. So the Qs is just quite long. So I'm just going to leave that as green. Let's just have a look and see. This looks almost like it's gone long again, which is really odd. Sort of suggests that it's giving us some sort of suggestion that maybe the market's pivoting and pivoting back. We had such a strong Russell today, and quite a retarded NAS. All that delta hedging of the last month has come off. Be interesting when we get through the single names. There's quite a lot of buying into that, but it's really sort of settled out. Yeah, nothing to see there. It's just the filter's not too. Looks like a very agricultural way to move around, but it's very hard to split these up and spot what's happening here. But you can see the Qs are just very, there's just no hedging going in there, even though they're looking quite, we're gone into the S&P 500. But as I was saying, in the S&P 500 there was nothing strong in there. There's this one big bite here, but apart from that, the hedging for this period has really dropped off. and you'll find a lot of people will hedge at the tops and they'll wait for it to regain that. I suppose it's some sort of systematic hedging. And as we pull up towards the level of the last top, it's reduced. And then in the industry one, yeah, again, it's the 21st. It's still retaining a lot of that delta hedging from last month. Which probably that's probably why we've got it going so sideways. We'll have to see how that develops. So, just go back to my chart. SPX long green, I'm happy with that. Strong delta hedging. I have been told that my language of hedging and delta hedging confuses people. They just want bearish and bullish, but it's just there's nothing refined in just calling something bullish and bearish, because there's just so much in between, and you could put bearish on on a lot of long charts just every time they came to a top. And is that really suggesting day trading anymore? Anyway, I'll be quiet. So we had, I've gone to the Russell, I should have gone to the Qs. Anyway, we'll do the Russell while we're here. We can see that the Russell has really, again, it has strengthened a little bit as it's gone up. We've rolled off a lot of this monthly delta hedging in the shorts, and we've lost a lot of. Maybe it's moved out a bit wider, but generally. Sort of strengthened its hedging. Maybe that's just because we've had such a bump today. A lot of it's come off there. Let's just have a look if we went up one screen. No, let's go down a screen. And this is the Russell, so it's very mixed again. A lot of them coming into earnings. I think that's pretty well weakened in the 7 day. So there's nothing in the 7 day that's really standing out there. I think that's pretty green. And if we just have a quick look at it in here, and then we'll go and do the NAS. So this is in the longs, and the longs have strengthened a little bit. More has rolled off than has stayed on. This stuff out here is going to be delta hedging from whenever that bottom was found in the Russell, which is about the 18th of December. So we have about the 18th or the 19th, and we can see this delta hedging starting to form here. And it's had a strong, this is why it's taken off today, we've had this strong DPI accumulation here, which we haven't seen really much prices, and lots of buying here in the dips. Haven't seen much price appreciation during that period, and it was continued to have as we've had some more gamma come off, we've got a bit more of a buy signal there. It's a bit freer to move. So the Russell is strong, long and green. I'm going to continue on that one, and then let's just go through to the NAS. We're almost through this section, and then I'll quickly go through the crypto space if anyone wants to go on that. I don't want to be here for too long with everyone. If anyone's got any questions, I don't even know if anyone's come into the call. If anyone's got any questions that they want to ask. So that's are we on the NAS? Yeah, we're on the NAS. And long has got a little bit stronger, and the delta hedging has held up a little bit more there. A lot of the time you've got to watch the delta hedging being switched to being more than delta hedging. But I think here we can look, there's nothing that has strengthened here at all. If anything, it's all weakened in the hedging. We did see a little bit of hedging coming into that period. When did it blast off? It blasted off about on the same, on about the 13th. So this is really the hedging period here in point 4. We really want to be looking at point 8 to. It's very hard in these big indexes to have any filtering at all. But this is where we had some. It's probably in the 31 day. Yeah, there was one day there where it's jumped on and off, and then it's really just cleared up. Yeah, that we have got a little bit more here rolling through, which looks quite heavy, but I don't actually think it is. It's a little bit heavier. So that NAS is a little bit heavier. I had it on amber on Friday, so I'm going to leave it on. I think it's green, but I think it looks a bit more amberish today. Hedging holding. I'll just check big tech. I know that it's a very large grouping of things that do move different ways, but they do tend to move as a group to some degree, or the indexes don't move, so it might be what pulled back the NAS today. Oh, I've got it on big minus. Big minus is a trade at the moment. Everyone thinks China's going to take off. So big tech has picked up. We're coming into earnings, so big tech has picked up a bit more hedging there. That's on the 31 day. Let's just see if that's the same. No, I just think that's the roll. So big tech is going to sit where it is. Amber to greenish. It's had quite a good buy, and a lot of gamma is rolling off. And this doesn't actually mean that the market's going to drop straight away as the gamma rolls off. It's just saying that there's not as many traders in here actively hedging positions, so the gamma drops off, and a lot of the time we'll see the price go up for quite a while as market makers are getting out of those positions. So this DPI here might be a bit distributive, so I'm going to leave that on amberish. So we're down to we've done the Russell. Let's have a look at the fun ones. So here's the TNA. TNA had a strong day today, and we can see that it's hedged out a little bit at the top. It's the only place that we're seeing hedging. Is it a delta hedging? No, that's short-term hedging. Let's have a look if it's in the shortest period. Yeah, that doesn't look, just looks like it's rolling into the next. You can see we've had a big blow today in DPI coming down, which is expected as market makers are hedging into the situation. And these stocks are really leverage stocks are really traded here in the 5, so you can see it's a strong period, not that much has come off. We can see that it was bought here close to the bottom 20th of December, which is right down here. You can see it's sort of built here. We have had a bit come off today. No, there's that little bit of hedging there for that dip. It looks pretty strong. Not much delta hedging. So TNA, I've got that down to a little bit amberish, but that got blown away today. DPI was washed. Let's have a look at that IWM. IWM's pretty good, it's done the same thing. We're only seeing any hedging appearing in the later filter. And we can see just as much as rolled into the start. So if I put it, it's heavy out 2 weeks, isn't it? What have we got in 2 weeks? Have we got I can't see federal decision next Thursday the 30th, so that's probably what we're seeing there at 2 weeks. This is probably what we're starting to see. It's probably the reason that the VIX is a little bit mixed too. So in the IWM, we're starting to see hedging for next week's FOMAC. Funny that it's much more, we're seeing it much more in these Russell proxies, and we're not in ETFs, and we're not seeing it in anywhere near as much worry in the SPY. Oh God. So here, just having a look at the RUT's doing the same thing. And it isn't just moving sideways. There might be one extra line being opened up there. And that's on the short dated stuff. The RUT doesn't have because it's just an index. It's still strong. In the long position, still strong. So that we're just seeing the hedging coming in. Let's see if it's in the 7-day. No, it's just again. It's in that FOMAC area. So I think we've looked at all of those. Alright, let's just have a break and we'll be back.